sit down and hit the live button. Sit down. And realized I did not have my phone. But thank you guys for being here. And how are you all? Hey, purple people. Thank you. Hey, Mama Chase, Melissa Jade, Unravel. Hey, MK. Hey, Chris, Woofy, Eddie, Punksy. Hey, Seven, ATS. Good to see you. Hey, Chopper, Music City Mom, Shay Benet. Thank you guys for being here. PJ, West Virginia Lunch Lady, Cool Gamer. So Jen Lou, you're doing your first live on your new channel tonight? That's exciting. I'm doing good, Aguilar. I left my phone next door and yeah, I just ran and got it really fast. That's why it took me a second to start. I hope you guys have had a good day. Hey Candace. Hey Amber. No. Hey Ethel. Good to see you. Saturday. Oh, okay. All right. So if you guys saw yesterday, there was some news with the Bryan Kohberger case. I want to go through some of that, go through some videos, a couple articles. There's a couple little things I want to talk about. But I want to say first, if Melissa Jade and ATS News, if you are not watching those channels, you should be. Number one, Melissa doing an excellent series on debunking a lot of the misinformation on social media, which is important for people to see because it does spread fast. And then Amber, she always does an excellent job making sure the facts are out there, and they've both been covering specifically this case a lot. So a blanket hello to everyone. I only have one hand right now. I got hit by driver at work yesterday, and when I felt, no way, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Hey Deb. Let me see your new one. Ooh, I love your new pic. We can see you a little better. The other one, you were itty bitty tiny. Should I get but I've had the iPhone 13 Plus for the last year, and it broke last week, and I had the Android 22 Ultra now, and honestly, I think it's just as nice as the iPhone. They both have their upsides, so what are you comfortable with is what I would go for. Hold on one sec, you guys. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I had a phone call from my mom. I could not answer it, trying to figure out this Kohberger thing. Well, here we go, Jen Lou. We're going to watch some of it and figure it out together. If you want to say anything, let me know, and I'll bring you up. I will get it. I will, Wolfie. That's my plan, is to use this until I finish paying for my other iPhone, and then I'll get another one. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up. We're going to go through some videos, but I found a couple articles I want to show you first. So this one, Jennifer Coffindaffer shared on her Twitter. She's been getting a lot of heat on Twitter. See, I really haven't been in a lot of YouTube either in the last day or two. It's just YouTube can be a really awesome place, but it can be a shithole as well. And there are a lot of people out there who are just miserable as hell, and it can almost seep into you and make you miserable if you let it. So try not to let it. Let's see. So Bryan Kohberger's legal team may have found a new way to attempt to have his murder charges thrown out following a court document filed this week. On Tuesday, Kohberger's lawyer, Ann Taylor, who serves as the Kootenai County Chief Public Defender, called on the state to provide the full record of the grand jury proceedings following his indictment on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. Release of the grand jury proceedings governed by a rule and statute are materials necessary to Mr. Kohberger's defense, the court document said. A grand jury was impaneled at a time when the small community of Moscow had been exposed to 6 months of intense local, national, and international coverage. Tiff, we're talking about Bryan Kohberger, and I forgot. I do want to talk to you guys about something from the Portland situation. We'll probably take like a little midway break and talk about that, because at this point I'll probably mention it in every live I do for a little bit, or I don't know. I think that's how I'm going to do it, but okay. Because the state has provided extensive discovery, Mr. Kohberger knows that exculpatory evidence exists. Whether a fair and impartial panel of grand jurors was assembled amid intense media coverage is a significant question the defense must evaluate. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think, I think that there's been a lot of coverage, and it's been, too much, because even when there's not news, there's coverage of pretend news, and that is tough. But also, I think that it is certainly possible to find a jury that has not been tainted by that, especially when you're in like a state like Idaho. I think there's a lot of farmers and a lot of people, just in general, there's a lot of people who are not watching the news every day. Oh, Mark. Thank you. I feel like the defense is full of it. The court filing this week comes after Kohberger was indicted. During his, we know that he stood silent. Okay, now I want to show you this before we get into the videos. Idaho murder prosecutors ask for another $120,000 as Bryan Kohberger to contest indictment. $120,000. The prosecutors in Bryan Kohberger's case, accused of killing 4 University of Idaho undergrads, have asked for more money to help pay for trial expenses. The total would be $135,000, it says. Ann Taylor filed a motion to halt court proceedings. In the motion, Taylor wrote, Kohberger is exercising due diligence to discover the grounds upon which to file a motion to dismiss related to how the jury was selected. So my question is, since they are asking for the court process to be halted, does this mean that in the future, he's waiving his right to a speedy trial by doing that? Somebody tell me, because I don't know. Hey, Connie. I have friends who have no idea about this case, and there are people up on this case that have never heard of the Delphi case. Ann Taylor is advocating for her client, like way better than I've ever seen from a public defender's office. Ooh. That's very interesting. Well, I have a couple videos, so let's watch. Also, wait, okay, before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and talk about this for a second. This is interesting. These are new episodes up on Amazon, and they're like audio books. Check this out. They just came up today and yesterday. So there's like several episodes, June 16th, June 15th, June 14th, 13th. So they've come out all this week. But it's Jennifer Coffindaffer and other experts who are talking about the case. Let me give you guys the link in case you're interested, because I'm definitely interested. I'm going to check it out. But I saw that and I was like, huh. And this just goes to show you, look at all the coverage. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Hey, Support with Steffa. Good to see you. What is this Delphi case that you speak of? Hey, Carol freaking Claus. Good to see you too. All I know is the state better have their ish together. Ann Taylor didn't come here to play, honey. No, she didn't. He may, but right now, no. He has to formally do that. Okay, so that is interesting. That was my biggest question when I saw that they were asking for this. Does this, in turn, waive the right to a speedy trial? Hey, Ava, I believe he's throwing strategies at her and she has to honor them to not be ineffective counsel. I also believe she is a good, hard attorney. No, West Virginia lunch lady, not yet. But actually, I did get a package slip. So the way that my post office works, so I bet you that's it. The way that it works, though, the day that you get it, you can't go get it. You have to wait until the next morning because she runs 2 post offices, and all of the packages that won't fit in your box, she go on to the next town, and then she'll bring them back like tonight. So I'll get it in the morning. I bet that's what that slip was. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I was thinking that it wouldn't have been that slip, but I bet it was. I actually think Anne came up with this all on her own. Oh, really? Interesting. Okay, so let me show you guys these couple videos on it. Well, before that, let me show you this. So remember I told you about this man who was taunting the mother of one of the victims out in Oregon. And it was this account called James Baker. And James Baker has been telling her that he did it, and taunting her. And she has been reaching out to the police, and the police are not listening. They are not listening. And it's bullshit. And I'm going to keep talking about it. I may do a video just specifically on this to show it, because she's saying that he is this other account. I'm not going to show that yet. I want to make sure that he is. I need to do a little more digging. But he's saying things like this. She's in my blunt. And she says, you sick son of a bee, you talk a lot of shit and have the balls to say you murdered her. Why don't you prove it? You got pictures of her or her stuff? He says, I'm rolling her in my blunt. She says, I hope you rot in hell. You sure know how to talk psycho talk, but you don't have the balls to prove anything. He says, she had a fat ass. And then he says, she said, prove what items? He said, I'm smoking Kristen. She said, what the hell does that mean? She's in my blunt. Taunting her, and the police are not listening. They won't even I don't even think they've gotten back to her about it. See, and remember, I showed you guys a while back, or yesterday, that he had private messaged her 6 weeks before her daughter was found. Her daughter wasn't found until the middle of February, and he private messaged her, your daughter is dead, on January 6th. Then he said, I may or may not have done a murder on her and dumped her in the woods. Don't tell anyone, though. And now he has joined the Facebook group in memory of her and is taunting her and following her around, and the police are not listening. It is insane. Hey, Crime Curious. Good to see you. Let me drop her channel, too. You guys will miss out if you aren't subscribed. No, Bendy, you'll have to drop your second channel, though, because I don't have it in here yet. I know, you guys, it's disgusting. It is disgusting. So I just wanted to take a second to talk about it. And like I said, I will keep talking about it. I'll probably make a video just specifically on this. I feel like I should drop James Baker on 4chan and let the boys over there have some fun with them. I'm telling you, Seven, that's how I feel too. It needs to be talked about, period. So it is sick, you guys. Aw, Crime Curious. I actually missed a bunch of you guys last night, and I felt bad. I know I mentioned it in the live, but I've been like I said, YouTube is a funny place. There's a lot of blessings that can come from it, but you have to understand when to cut it off. And when I start hearing people saying the nastiest things about the people I love, lies, and it's to where I get to the point where I'm like, screw this. I don't even want to deal with the internet. We watched Fear Street last night on Netflix, the first one, the 1994, which it was pretty good, but oh, you're welcome, Amber. I'll keep showing it too. I'm going to show it like I said, I will do just a video on this specifically so it can be shared and stuff. I don't know, Crime Curious. I'm wondering if he did, because he messaged her January 6th. She was found, I think, like February 22nd, if I remember correctly. Amber may know the date better. But Steffa, we're talking about Bryan today, but we're just doing like a quick timeout. This is in reference to the 6 women who have been found out in Oregon. One of the women's mothers has created a Facebook group for her, and you can see this here. This is the group. Justice for Kristen Smith, and James Baker joined the group. And mom sees him and says, "Why are you on this page? You're the one who sent me this message in January. Why the hell are you following my daughter's page? Are you her killer?" And, you know, he, of course, had all this to say. So, okay. Now we're going to go back to Idaho. Let me go grab our video I want to watch, because I found a couple. I want to watch a video from Banfield, but Police on the Cuff also did a video about it, and they have the opposite stance of like the mainstream media getting the just on the gag order and things like that. So I thought it would be interesting to watch both together. We're going to start with this one now. Thank you, Melissa. So you guys, if you're interested in that, the case from out in Oregon, the potential serial killer, Melissa J just dropped the Facebook group that Amber.
You can kind of see the buildup right on the scalp roots. Let me get to the area. That's just redness and inflammation.
Yeah, and he's actually been out there to one of the crime scenes, filming and stuff like that.
His lawyer has a couple things on her chest that she'd like to get off, namely the whole grand jury indictment. She's saying it's got to go. We want more time to look through all the stuff that the grand jury did, said, all that stuff. Could we think it maybe didn't go according to law or plan, or something hinky in there, which means we want to toss it out. We want that grand jury indictment tossed out. Grand juries are secret. And they really are a prosecutorial process. They're not a defense process. So this is interesting. I like the way she thinks. This is what she says. Kohberger is exercising due diligence upon which to file a motion to dismiss related to how the grand jury was selected.
I simply think, like one of you said in the chat, she's checking her boxes and trying to do her job to defend her client. Hey, Roberta from Italy. Very cool. And okay, Bendy. Have fun working. Hey, Mama Bear. Let me see here. Oh, Melinda, thank you. I look forward to hanging out with you guys every day. I really do. Okay.
While the matter of the grand jury record is argued and prepared, more time to go through.
Blessings and BS.
Here's something else. The grand jury was in a time when the small community of Moscow, Idaho, had been exposed to 6 months of intense local, national, and international media coverage. Because the state provided extensive discovery, Mr. Kohberger knows that great evidence exists. That's interesting. Whether a fair and impartial panel of grand jurors was assembled, its intense media coverage is a significant question the defense must evaluate. Well, that is interesting. So that's why I get the interesting guest, Mark Garagos, trial attorney, co-host of the podcast Reasonable Doubt with Adam Carolla. Let's start with the money.
Mark Garagos, what a familiar face. He is a very famous defense attorney. You know, we can do a citizen's arrest on this guy.
Mark Garagos, $135,000 for a quadruple murder case. How much more is it going to go up from that? They can't possibly stick to that budget, can they?
It's going to go up quite a bit. And by the way, that's probably why people are fleeing California to go to Idaho, because the cost of living or prosecuting is much cheaper there. I'll tell you, the defense cost alone in a capital case in a place like California or New York is a multiple, or exponentially more than that.
Wow. That's pretty interesting. He represented Michael Jackson, Winona Ryder, and Chris Brown. Who else did he represent? Scott Peterson?
The press conference, it's hard to project exactly what's going to be involved. We know that it's not going to be cheap. That is the understatement of the century. All right, let me ask you about this whole challenge to the grand jury process and maybe the indictment itself. I love it. It's like spaghetti. Just toss it and see what happens. But how often
Well, it's not so much a trick. I think, and I look, she wrote, and I think what she's doing is setting up a situation. You know, when you have a grand jury in most jurisdictions and both in federal and state court, you have to give the defense the opportunity to present exculpatory.
You guys would be absolutely shocked at the amount of people who were talking about how handsome he was. Like, I've had several people tell me they could not get over the comments and the people who were so impressed with him with a suit and gelled hair. It's pretty crazy.
Evidence, if you will, once you know the grand jury is happening. And that can be what you just kind of recounted, was whether or not the grand jury was selected impartially. So that's a different challenge. The challenge to exculpatory evidence is, I believe what the argument, they're laying the groundwork for the argument is, hey, we know that there's exculpatory evidence. We didn't get a chance to present that. That is our right. Even though it's a secret proceeding, we do have the opportunity, just like in New York.
But I mean, the defense is never at a grand jury proceeding.
Where you and I talked about in the Penny case, where he could or didn't, or we don't even know actually whether he testified in front of the grand jury, because that's his right. Trump was given the right. He sent one of his lawyers in New York State court. Here, they could have presented a package to the grand jury. I will tell you, going back 20 years, when Michael Jackson, that Michael would be indicted, I presented and brought, along with Ben Brofman, binders worth of exculpatory information to give to that grand jury so that they would know that before they indicted Michael in that. So she's laying the groundwork for a motion to dismiss.
Yeah, which they all do that, right? We've seen it with Lori Vallow. We've seen it with Letitia, Lori Vallow. Many of them will ask, for the case to be dismissed, and it usually doesn't work, obviously.
And what she's asking for, pause this thing. We want a timeout, basically, so we can assemble the information we would have presented to the grand jury.
I got 30 seconds left, but since you brought up Michael Jackson and you were, his attorney, this complaint about media saturation, that you can't possibly get a fair grand jury, you can't possibly get a fair trial, all this stuff. I look at OJ, Casey Anthony, Beretta, Robert Blake acquitted. Michael Jackson in one of his trials acquitted. So I'm getting a little tired of hearing can't fair process just when there's lots of media attention. What do you think?
Well, in at least 3 of the cases you just mentioned, what the common theme was? The jurors were sequestered.
Okay.
Casey Anthony.
Yeah, but isn't that just during the trial? I mean, I don't know. Okay, so before we go to the next video, let me show y'all this. Bryan Kohberger is innocent. Really good to see BK look a little more relaxed and confident in court on Friday. He looked really polished and handsome. 100 innocent. Looking forward to seeing this young man freed and able to go on with his life. Hashtag Team Bryan. And she shares these photos. What world are we living in, y'all? What? Martha Stewart, there you go. Hey, Rule. Crazy. I know. It's crazy as hell. Let's see what else is on here. Whoever else saw this before, it's my first time. It just brings so many more questions, especially about how he was able to do this, get in and out alone. Let's watch it. First time actually seeing it in person. I mean, a lot of people, it is very interesting. He gets in and out of there so quickly and takes the life of several people, but somebody did it, right? We know that somebody did it, so it was obviously possible for someone. Here, let's go look at this group real quick. And we have another video, but we're just hanging out for a little bit, so we might as well explore together because this is crazy. Crazy. This should have been a late night live because I need my gummies for this kind of craziness. Bryan Kohberger has filed a second motion to compel discovery. He still hasn't received the analysis of his cell phone data, nor have they provided the identity of the FBI cast agent who helped determine location of pings the night of the murders and much more. This gets interesting. Certain requests remain outstanding. As such, Mr. Kohberger requests an order for the state to disclose. She must have them out of order. But we have let's see. The state objected to one request. Mr. Kohberger disagrees, as this information was largely relied upon in various warrants, including the arrest warrant. Information relied upon to secure search and arrest warrants is necessary to conduct analysis of Fourth Amendment issues. Further, the entirety of the information could include materials required under Brady. Idaho Criminal Rule 16 covers broader area than the evidentiary rules of admissibility. Request 120 and 140, all tips received by law enforcement relating to this case. The state has provided various tips throughout discovery. However, they are scattered in pieces throughout the discovery. A complete and chronological list of all tips has not been provided. That's interesting that they want that. All tips required. So they want to look at anybody else who could have been responsible for this. That's really interesting. They are covering all bases because this is a death penalty case. Every appeal begins with ineffective counsel, so they truly need to do a great job. I totally agree. Hey, crazy mama. Sis is in here. Hey, sis. Hey, poets. JD, good to see you guys. And Cray Cray, oh my gosh. Sleuthie made an interesting point about how the car should have passed 4 times and not 3. That has me puzzled. Oh, God, I'm so bad with directions and maps. I don't even know if I can try to make sense of that kind of stuff without, like, visuals. I feel good. Like that, I knew that I would. Carol Claus. Okay. Then we have, that is interesting. They want all tips received. I mean, you can obviously see why. Number 7, request 136, all audio recordings relating to all search warrants obtained in this matter. The state has responded that they are attempting to obtain this information if it exists. The state will comply with this request upon receipt. The defense has been provided with a photograph of a DVD entered into evidence as item 435, labeled as SW audio. There is also a notation that this DVD was copied to county on 113, so search warrant audio. Request 164, body cam recordings, notes, photographs, and all information collected at the autopsies by Tollison, Vargas, and Gunnarsson. The state says they do not have these items. Clarification is needed on if they exist or are still in the possession of another agency. Wow. Look, there are 222,000 people in the main Facebook page. I think many of them are law enforcement types or family, many with nothing on their profiles and fake pictures. They bully, harass, laugh, and team up on anyone who questions the case. This is jury tampering, contaminating a jury pool. That's illegal. That is bullshit. The jury isn't going to be chosen off the internet, okay? Right, Tiff. He has a right to all case information. It's the law, and they know that. That's okay, Carol Claus. It's pretty crazy the way that things are shifting in this and in the public's perception. And Taylor going for the car identification issue. So request 4, all footage provided to forensic examiners with FBI used to identify make and model of the vehicle. All reports generated related to the identification of the white Elantra. All reports, communications, and documentation related to the change in year of the white Elantra assault. CV or credentials of forensic examiners. Wow, they're even going over after the exam. That's pretty interesting. The state has responded by listing various page numbers and file names. However, they do not provide any reports generated, communications, and documents relating to the change in year of the white Elantra or identity of the forensic examiner who identified this as the make and model of the vehicle. And Taylor has it going on. Bryan Kohberger will comply with filings in a sworn statement of facts as soon as he gets the grand jury record. No alibi. Carr was on video racing away from the quadruple murder. He has requested more time to respond to their request for alibi. Okay, let's watch this other video I grabbed for us, and then we'll keep talking about the craziness. But
come back and get credit for the work you've put in at Purdue Global. With your experience and college credit, your degree may...
Obviously, the broadcast media.
Obviously, the broadcast media. They immediately start with, with that. And look here, these are retired NYPD homicide sergeant Bill Cannon, Detective Phil Grimaldi, he's also retired, and an attorney named Melanie Little. I'm going to share this video. If you guys aren't subscribed, Police on the Cuff, I like to find channels of people who are not law enforcement, just normal ass people like Amber. I love Amber's channel. I actually watched it before I even was friends with her. But I also really love to find people who have worked in, as professionals in the field and hear their opinions. And I wanted to respond to Tiffany's comment. There we go. What is such a big secret? I'm so confused. They're going to get the case no matter what. Just give it to them already. I think that they are claiming that they don't have everything yet that they're being asked for. So I don't know. Hey, Mr. Big. I love them. Yeah, they're really good. I don't understand why he just won't talk since his words were he was eager to be exonerated. Hey, Mrs. M. I've had a rough day at work. I'm sorry, Mrs. M. Well, hopefully you have a better evening. Okay.
The broadcast media, the print media, they have an agenda. They feel like they have a right to broadcast, to report on this. And really in our system, and again, I may be beating a dead horse, but I think the rights of the defendant supersedes the right of the broadcast and the print media to, well, look, we've seen in cases where the media is allowed to actually draw the jury.
Okay, now let me just say, he said the media has an agenda, the broadcast media, let me tell you, so do YouTubers. When there is not, look, on this channel, we are only going to talk about, we will clarify what are facts, what's coming from the court, what's coming from investigators, what's rumor on the street, that kind of thing. But there are channels who are only strictly covering this case. And when the information stops coming, you start hearing all these crazy stories that it really feels like are being provided for a purpose with an agenda, you know? Oh, Joneson, good to see you. Yeah, they definitely do. And I don't know. I'm just sick of seeing all the crazy rumors that come out of nowhere. I don't understand, but okay, let me keep playing. And the next thing she says, I just have to say now, so I won't pause it then. He says, you know, sometimes the media will have people drawing what's happening in the courtroom. And she's like, yeah, like in the Lori Vallow case, there was a really good sketch artist in that case. Huh? Lady? Do you need to wear your glasses more or something? Is there like, do you need to go to the eye doctor? Because, whew, that sketch artist, I would not call them really good, but that's just me. But okay.
The trial, you've seen those chalk
For
figures,
the courtroom sketch artist.
Right?
That is
Sketch artist.
what? Sketch artist in the Daybell Vallow case. She was all right.
What?
I'll be satisfied with a recap at the end of the day with a sketch artist drawing pictures and a reporter reporting what happened in the courtroom as opposed to the cameras. I'd be very satisfied with that.
The audio is good, but you know, when I have to look at when it's in session, that's okay, I think.
Oh yeah, I'll go with that.
But you know, that's hard also because then you're judging just what you're hearing. You can't see the exhibits or see video, but you know, it's something.
It's the jury that's going to be locked on every one of those.
I have to agree with him. The rights of the defendant getting a fair trial do supersede the media. I want to hear it all too. I do, but look at what's happening now. I mean, do I think it would be beneficial for the police to be able to say, this is wrong, this is misinformation, this is not right? Yes, but honestly, when they were doing that, like when the case was, you know, before they caught Bryan, before they arrested Bryan, they had that section on the website about misinformation, and there was still tons of it going around. That's just the truth. I mean, now it is literally being pushed on a lot of channels that this was a confirmed drug house and there were tunnels underneath it and all of this stuff. And you can't see the evidence of Bryan possibly having something to do with it, but you can see the evidence of that. It's really hard for me to comprehend that. And I'm over it. I'm over it. Okay, let me see what you guys have to say. Beautiful night here. It is here too. Hey, MK Ultra. I just want the trial to be aired good enough for me to wait. Absolutely. We are nosy too, but I'm glad the gag order is in place. I am patient. I can wait. Same here. Let me see. Who's in here? Shay Bonet, will you do me a favor and click on Jones's account and share her link? If you guys aren't subscribed over there, she also talks about true crime, but she also talks about, like, you know, drama in the community or regular just hangout lives at her house, like with her chickens. She has her chickens. I love your intro, the trippy true crime and the drama that surrounds it. Like, it's just, I don't know, it sounds nostalgic or something. But yeah, okay, let's keep going. Earlier on, many easily believed it was Jack D that did this. But how many can't believe Bryan could do this? Really? Jeff, I'm telling you, this helped me realize that I need to look at things differently, because, or at least do things differently on my channel. Because, and even like, it reminds me of like Summer Wells case. I've been hard on those parents over stuff. When their stories don't add up and stuff, I've called it out. But, you know, I could have been convinced that it was Jack D, and I was dead wrong. I could have been convinced it was Hoodie Guy at one point. When we had Steve Gonsalves coming out and saying, you know, and he's supposedly in Africa, and the pictures of him hunting on his mom's Facebook and all the crazy things, like, but then come to find out it wasn't. So what are we doing when we're sitting on here blaming innocent people? Even Don and Candace, like, they haven't been arrested. The FBI is involved. I'm not in the business of ruining lives. I don't want to do that, and I don't know. It's crazy. I truly could have been convinced Jack D somewhat at certain points when Crime Circus was doing those videos showing his house was so close and the white car in the driveway and all that. But I was fully convinced that it could have been Hoodie Guy. This is not a movie. These are not characters out of a book. This is real life. These folks are going through the worst thing they have ever been through in their lives. That you could ever imagine. Imagine you send your baby off to college. My son's getting close to wanting to go. We were talking about it the other night. You send your baby off to college and you think, wow, can't believe we got through childhood. Like Ethan's parents said, we did it. They just were up there and looked at each other and said, damn, we did it. Look at them. They're amazing. They're doing wonderful. It's going to make me cry. It's sad. It's horrible. So we should be more cautious about all of it, the way we look at this stuff. And I'm telling you guys, I'm going to stop and get off the damn soapbox, but I fully believe that laws are going to be changed because of stuff like this. And we're going to have less access than we do now.
In any case that I testified in, the juries are not stupid. They're in a reason, especially on a murder case, and they pay attention and they're able to draw conclusions based on evidence. They get instructions from the judge, and they're going to do their job.
Yeah. And it amazes me that everybody wants to get out of jury duty. I think jury duty is fascinating. I think everyone should try and be on a jury at least once. I never get picked because I'm a lawyer and nobody ever wants me on the jury. So I show up and I go. And
you know too much.
That's what it is. But it's fascinating.
Cameras in the courtroom. Now, obviously, the press is salivating over, and they think it's their constitutional right to have cameras in the courtroom. However, this is an internationally known case.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it will be very tough for a judge to rule no cameras in the courtroom. I think he would get a lot of pushback.
But look what they did with Lori Vallow. And that's a good time to answer your question, Prying Paula. Paula says, if they only allow one media outlet in the courtroom but no recording, how are we supposed to believe what they report? It's not like they always tell the truth. Well, with Lori Vallow, which is also Idaho, so it's kind of interesting that it looks like things are leaning that way, because we have some states like Florida that will put it all out on Front Street. But with Lori Vallow, what they did was we were able to get audio recordings of the proceedings from that day, like that night. So you can still hear everything, can't see anything, but you can still hear what's said.
I think there's going to be a lot of people pushing that. Why wouldn't you have, they point to the OJ case, they point to some very reasons, and according to the press, it didn't taint the trial. It didn't make anyone nervous. They talk to people and they say, it didn't interfere with the case. I think it does. I think everyone acts differently when they're being videoed, and when they're on, in this case, they'll be on internet.
Actually, Jen was telling me a study that was done on this, and it is just the facts. If you know you're being recorded, your behavior will slightly change. I think that I'd have to get her up here to tell, but that is true, Jones, and I understand Steve Gonsalves was emotional and trying to figure out what happened to his daughter, but he was talking too much, and that is why they won't tell him things. I hate that for him. You're exactly right. I mean, I remember at one point he came out and said, you know what? I think it's time. It's been long enough. They need to come out and tell the public it's a man responsible for this. That's not going to make a difference in the case. Things like that. Or when he came out and was talking about Hoodie Guy being in Africa. The reason that it's a problem is because he's repeating rumors from social media. And I feel for him. God almighty. I mean, what an awesome dad, too. Like, to have somebody like that in your corner fighting for you, I think that he's awesome and he's being a really great dad. But I just think that he doesn't understand what talking might do to the case and that kind of thing. Carol Claus, sorry, so disagree about Don and Can't. See, I I'm not saying they're innocent. I'm just saying I have learned to regret some of my coverage of that case because I've been very harsh on them. And what if they are innocent? I mean, this is just the truth. If they are innocent, they were still neglectful, in my opinion, based on just seeing the house and those kids. However, do they deserve to get drug on social media for years, blamed for a murder they didn't commit and things like that, accused of essaying Summer when we don't know if that happened? It makes me sick to hear people say that shit about her. We don't know that. How the hell can you talk about that baby like that? So I don't know. I think that it's different for you guys. Like a viewer, you can be like, oh, they're guilty. But for me, I just want to be responsible. I just don't want to cause issues, I don't know how they can control YouTube. I'm telling you, I think laws will change. The FBI charges, if you, hell, when that was happening, they were threatening charges of people spreading misinformation. Thank you, Amber Lou. Hey, Amy, Crime Story Diva. They initially came here for help. They didn't get that, though, just exploitation. Yep. And everybody's so focused on all the drama and bullshit between Dawn and Candace. Not everybody. There's many channels who cover the facts, the news, things like that. But there are many channels who nightly will go over what Dawn and Candace did the day before on the live they were on and things like that. And it starts to move away from Summer's case a little bit. Let's do the math. Audience of Lori Daybell versus Bryan Kohberger. Oh, huge difference. Lori Vallow was a popular case, but Bryan Kohberger, I would say 10 times more, probably. All I know is everybody that has a part of this malicious crime needs to be held accountable because, in my opinion, Bryan did not do this by himself, in my honest opinion. It is hard to understand how this man could take 4 people in such a quick amount of time. But I think for Ethan, the only thing that makes sense to me is probably he had been drinking. He had been at a party, that kind of thing.
The national TV. Your thoughts, Melanie?
No, it's a performance when you're on TV. Come on. You want to be like, it's a performance. It also turns into a media circus. The judge, though, has said that he has disallowed cameras in courtrooms, which I thought was interesting. Never disallowed it. He's going to have to be swayed to cameras courtroom. I am going to say it was Lori Vallow Daybell's trial was also in Idaho. There were no cameras in that courtroom.
Okay. So just thinking about what you said, Tiff, let's say he did have somebody with him. I feel like they would know by now. I mean, by his phone records, camera footage, things like that. I mean, we don't know what kind of camera footage they have from the houses surrounding in the house next door. We know some things like about the audio of the dog barking and then like the thump, the very loud thump on the ground and the whimpering. But there can 100% be things that they left out. That's just the way true works. The affidavit is just a very small percentage of the full picture. And I think people forget that. People are like, well, they don't have any of this or they don't have any of that. We don't know what they have. We do not know.
But you look at what happens when you have a case like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That thing turned into a circus. If there are cameras allowed in the courtroom, you could have a happy compromise maybe, or not so happy, where there's one camera and it's focused in a certain place, like the witness, and that's all you can see. Because listen, they've got cameras focused on the defendant, on Kohberger, the entire time. Everyone's going to pick apart every single thing that he did with his body language, what he's wearing. It just too much talking heads on TV interpreting body language, and nobody's going to be listening to the evidence.
I disagree and agree. There will be too many talking heads interpreting body language. We already know that. Hell, we watch people. We interpret other people interpreting body language here on YouTube, you know, reviewing body language lives and stuff like that. But also, there will be people listening to the evidence. I don't see how cameras, how looking at their appearance will take away from anything. I only think it will add to it. When you can see people's reactions, their facial expressions, the way they're moving as they're testifying or as he's listening to testimony. Yeah.
You know,
No,
we've had
I
other
agree.
cases like the West case out of Kern County, California, that were only available when court was in session and only
Really,
online,
Shay?
and it was only streaming audio. We
Hey,
couldn't see any
Elsie.
video. So
Love
there's a lot
you.
of possibilities. But if the case gets transferred out of Latah County, because if it keeps going at this rate, I don't know how they're going to be able
Kentucky
to
Lee.
find an impartial jury in this. It's going to go to a different county with a different judge.
I believe that they needed a chemical.
Yes,
Bring
I was
it up.
just
There
gonna
was
say that.
something, black or something like that.
Yep,
they
that was
used.
it.
And
So
that-
it wasn't visible. The
Oh,
bloody
now I do
footprint-
want to listen to this before we go. We're going to look at a few more things, but I want to hear about this because, and again, remember, this is just some of the evidence, but the footprint is quite interesting that it took some time to be revealed. And it makes you wonder why, you know, is it just barely little tiny bits of DNA or, viral matter or whatever, however you want to say that, that it wasn't visible to the eye. Also remember, and also I do think they'll blow us away with evidence. Also remember, they could have been drunk, which would make it easier for Bryan to have did this. And also, Bryan is not a small person. I agree, Chopper. Shay is beautiful. No, I don't think so. They have no evidence other than the sheath that we know about and can prove. Something isn't right about the sheath, in my opinion. A lot of people have an issue with the sheath. I don't think you're alone with that, Tiff. Kentucky Lee. Hi, Mammy. The most awful thing I ever heard was Ethan screaming Xana's name on the audio. See, Mammy, I don't think that was the real audio. I know that there are people who do, and I don't, that's okay. We can agree to disagree all day long. That's how we learn from each other. But I don't know about y'all, but a circus is fun. Life's depressing enough. No need to take our circuses away. I think the car is clean, and they are scared AF because they probably arrested him prematurely. Look at Barry Morphew. I'm sorry, but you cannot convince me that he is not responsible for the disappearance of Suzanne. But they made the move, arrested him too quickly, didn't have the evidence, still haven't found her, and boom, he's out on the street suing the damn state for millions of dollars. Hey, Anne. I want to see the evidence in trial too. I would love to be there in person. Can you imagine actually getting to sit in this courtroom? Because then you have many different elements. You have Bryan, you have the families, the attorneys. I would love to be there. That audio was debunked. Law enforcement would not release that. There are still people who believe that it wasn't, but did anyone find out why Xana dad fixed her lock on her door the week prior? Tiffany, no, but I actually saw something about that earlier. Referencing that was mentioned, but I don't think Xana's mom actually knew a lot about what was going on. Do you know that now people are using the fact that Xana's mother has addiction issues, and they are using that to tie these kids to drugs and blame drugs on all of this. Xana was not, they were not in contact like that. Go re-listen to the interview again. You'll see that. So I just don't understand how people, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in recovery, but that kind of stuff really pisses me off. It really does. Addiction is a disease that the people who have never been through it, let me tell you something, you don't want to. It is the most misery you could ever imagine. Impending doom, period. All day, every day. It is horrible. And to use her mom's, I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. That audio was a recording by Martha Julia. Yes, thank you, Jeff. I knew that someone had thought they found it, or they did find it. I tend to think they found nothing in the car too. Wow. I think the car came back clean too, and they didn't expect it. Oh my God, you guys. Well, what about him being in his damn underwear? Sorting trash. Jess, can we confirm Ethan was drinking? No, I can't factually say 100% he was. I just think it's likely he was, because they were at a frat party right before, and we know that him and Xana love to drink. Their college kids. I mean, so I think it's likely. However, have I seen that factually to where I would say 100%? No. I have a lot of theories in my head about what happened and who did it and how it was done. Tell us some, MK. I'm curious. I don't think we will need much more evidence to find Bryan guilty. I think he pretty much sealed his own fate with his Google search history. I can't wait to see the electronics. Tiff. Told you, Allie, car was clean. You owe me lunch, darling. Well, come on, girl. I'm going to take you to lunch anyway. Absolutely not trying to malign Xana's mom, but I don't think she knew much either. She was already in a vulnerable position before the murders, and media took advantage of her for stories. Yes, they did. What's your sign? It was a game day, yeah. Yeah, because everyone wears gloves and separates trash in the middle of the night and takes it to their neighbor's house. Totally normal. Think I've asked you this before, but in case you didn't remember, I've since had to breathe. So do you have any social media? I can put mine up for a second and delete. Are you talking to Shay? Never mind. BK in a red thong with a Ziploc guard. No, Allie, the chat will bash me upside the head, MK. You think he had help? Oh, I love you too, Tiff. Look, my Tiff, my May says, I think Bryan did it, but I think he had help. Summer Wells' case is turning me away from YouTube because of all the drama. It has become very toxic. I'm guilty of falsely judging the parents. I'm not doing it anymore. Chitty Chatty Meg, I know. Me too. It's really tough because there are things with them. Look, the story has changed over and over. If you ask me truly how I felt, most of me believes that probably, maybe, possibly, mom may know a little more than she's saying, right? But the facts are, we just can't say that for sure. And what if she doesn't? And yeah, I just want to be responsible with my platform. I don't want to, I don't know. Drug addicts, drug users, and drug dealers are very different things. Yes, they are. They probably tested the wrong car and it came back clean. I'm going to be so shocked if that car is clean after everything that happened. Remember, there was so much blood that it was coming out of the side of the house. Okay, so this was gruesome. If there is nothing in that car, I'm going to be completely floored. No, Shay, that's okay. I think Brent might have had something to do with it, and I don't think he could live with the guilt. See, I don't. I think that, I don't mind that you think that. That's absolutely fine, so don't take it that way at all. I just think that I don't think he did at all. That's just my opinion. Okay, let's finish this so we can go through a few other things.
It wasn't visible to the naked eye.
It may not have been visible to the naked eye if the flooring was a dark color.
The flooring, what? But it was wood.
It could have blended in. And I guess when they really, went through the crime scene a second time and they had that amino black stuff, they sprayed it on it, and then it came up. And I think they even They even relegated it to a specific shoe, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's shoe.
It was like size 13.
Which part, Shay? I can rewind it just a little bit to the beginning of this because it was just like a minute ago. If that. Hold on. Okay, I'll rewind it. It was 30 seconds. But first, let me say, Mrs. Italy D says, unpopular opinion. I really question if Bryan did it.
Recordings just got better.
Hold on.
Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce.
I really question if Bryan did it. And if so, was he alone? I just question it. That's all right. I think it's a good thing to have questions like that. You know, we are talking about something very serious. And at the end of the day, his life is what he's going to pay with, right? Whether that's by firing squad or life in prison or whatever, if he's found guilty. Oh, Shay, it probably did. Okay, can we assume someone cleaned up something because they had to bring amino black to find that footprint? Pearl, I don't know. You know, that's a question I had as well. I think that's a fair question. I don't think so, because if it was such a minimal amount that wasn't visible to the naked eye, it's wood floor, you know, dried blood would probably be brown, or it would be like a brownish color. So is it possible that it could blend in? I think so. I think it could have been such a small amount. I don't know, though. It's a good question. Okay, let's listen to it and then, yeah, sorry.
Yes, I
Bring
was
it up.
just
It
going to
was
say
something amino black or something like that.
Yep,
they
that
used.
was it.
So it wasn't visible. The bloody footprint wasn't visible to the naked eye.
It may not have been visible to the naked eye if the flooring was a dark color. It could have
Okay.
blended in. And I guess when they really, went through the crime scene the second time, and they had that amino black stuff, they sprayed it on it, and then it came up. And I think they even relegated it to a specific shoe, if I'm not mistaken. I think a Vans shoe.
It was like a size 13. They said it was a size 13. I don't know what size shoes he wears. But again, such a horrific crime scene, right? It's got to be very messy, right? One latent shoe print that is not visible to the naked eye. I mean, how could there not be more than that in this probable cause affidavit? Because, you know, you really want to slam the door, right? On your probable cause affidavit, you want to really give as much as you possibly can. So I'm just genuinely asking you, because I've never responded to it.
This is interesting because, like, that's something I just told you guys. I wonder about, like, if there's no blood in the car, how? We don't know that yet, right? Obviously, but one latent shoe print that was not visible to the naked eye. How?
Or I've never come upon a quadruple.
Well, Melanie, I think they're just releasing
what. I'm wondering.
No,
I don't think
they
they don't slam the door on a probable cause order. They're giving bits and pieces of information that is going to lead to, the reason why they were putting that probable cause order in effect in Pennsylvania to bring him back to Idaho. That was shown. That was an arrest warrant. We want him back in Idaho for this. And they didn't, they didn't show their whole hand of cards.
Thank you. See, they do not show their whole hand. They just give. But I get what she's saying. She's like, wouldn't that be pretty powerful evidence if you included more? Jeff says, if Ellie says they only have one footprint, or they have one footprint, does that mean they only have one? Nope. That's a good point, and you're exactly right there. No, it doesn't. It means they have at least one. We don't know what else they have that they are not going to tell us. They surely are holding some stuff back. Definitely a bloodbath, Tiff. Definitely. Hey, Wheels on the Buzz. Normally, I would say no, but in this case, I don't think the one footprint would have been mentioned if they had many of them. This case won't make any sense till we have all the details and information. Yep, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, we're going to talk about, like today, when he asked for a stay in the case and stuff like that. We're going to talk about the new things that come out, but I'm not going to sit here and go, there's so many other things to talk about. If you guys have missed it, and many of you probably have, because I have a series called True Crime News. That is where I cover true crime news that isn't being covered everywhere. A lot of times it doesn't get many views. It just doesn't. People are interested in what they already know about, what they're already interested in. But to me, I just don't want to sit around and make things worse. They're already having issues with the coverage, and the facts.
But they're not giving
Yeah.
it 100.
There may be other bloody footprints.
Wouldn't you want to give like some of your strongest evidence?
Well, I think
that you would not want to. You want just enough that establishes probable cause. You
don't you want to give your strongest evidence? He said, no, you would not. You would not want to. He's a retired homicide sergeant. This is not, Alex from West Virginia, who's just never, worked in this field at all, giving her opinion. This is retired NYPD homicide sergeant. That is interesting to me.
Just give like some of your strongest evidence.
Well, I think the DNA.
No, you would not. You would not want to. You want just enough that establishes probable cause. You don't want them to see
You're not going to put your whole case in that. But I think one of the most powerful things is the DNA on the snap of the K-bar knife sheath. So I think that was probably one of the biggest pieces of evidence that they put forward in that probable cause order. But Bill's 100% right. You don't want to show everything.
Oh my God, I've been sitting here reading your comments, talking back to him, and muted the whole time. Damn it. I'm sorry. Hey, West Virginia Jules. I sometimes wonder about dead air, no sound. Sorry. I did see that Jonathan went to Candace's door, and I want to talk to you guys about that. Also, the PSYOP thing is really interesting. I typically don't think that about some of these cases, but with this one, there are some things that point to that. I am so sorry, you guys. Classic Alex. She's done with us. Hey, Jasmine. We can't hear you. Shit, I'm sorry. Damn it. Shit happens. Oh, shit. I don't even remember my thoughts. Cray, someone did go to the hotel room of Dawn and Candace, knock on the door, and we will talk about that at the end just to wrap things up. But let me keep playing this for a moment. I can't even go back to tell y'all what all I said, but let me tell you what it was good, for real.
Last thoughts are Xana Knodel, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, and Ethan Chapin. May God bless their families and may their souls rest in peace.
Thank you for naming all of the victims. That's awesome. And also, let's not be so quick to judge. Let's try and wait for the facts to come out, really, on the evidence. And we kind of got gypped because we were waiting for this preliminary hearing, on June 26th. It's still not June 26th, and we're all sitting here on the edge of our seats because we knew that at the preliminary hearing they were going to have to set forth all their evidence. The prosecution,
not all of it. Melanie.
Going to get to know more because that was a public proceeding. But then they convene this secret grand jury, and then, well, secret grand juries are always secret, so that's kind of oxymoron. But we didn't get to hear all the evidence. So now everyone's chomping at the bit, making stuff up, interviewing people's, third, fourth cousins mechanic to get information. And it's just like,
okay, I've disagreed with her heavily throughout this. Okay, I wish I could find the video clip of, hold on just a second. Let me grab something to show you guys. I got a screenshot of it, actually. Cannot believe I sat there that whole time. I'm telling y'all, it was something good. I was talking, just, the PSYOP thing is quite interesting. In a lot of these major cases, you'll have people kind of pointing out the signs in them. Let's see. Menace to Sobriety is the account name. Let's see. Menace to Sobriety. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. It was nice to hear officers say, no, they don't give all their evidence in the probable cause thing, and that kind of stuff. I think that it is important that we wait and wait for the rest of the evidence. That's now. This little channel, and I'm going to share the link. They have uploaded a video. So just for a minute to talk about, I'm telling you guys, things are going to change. YouTubers going to towns and protesting and shutting whole neighborhoods down where you have neighbors complaining that, their children are scared. People that are on hospice can't pass away peacefully. All the things with them going to Dawn and Candace's job and all of that, not to mention the misinformation, the bullshit stories out of nowhere. Go watch Melissa Jade's live from last night, or the last few actually, on her debunking, misinformation from the social media. There is literally a creator out there who is editing articles, making videos look blurry, trying to push a narrative that these tunnels in Moscow and the drugs and all the things, and that's not cool. And I'm telling you guys, things are going to change. You think that we don't get enough information now? You think we can't get close enough now? Wait and see. Bye, MK. Thank you so much. Have a good night. I wonder how long Bryan thought about doing this. Even that night, maybe he was conflicted. Possibly explains his driving on that street that night. Jeff, 100% agree. I've wondered a lot how long he thought about doing this, and was it a plan he had before he arrived? Is it something that happened with these girls that sparked it? I think that's a lot of why people are so interested in this. They want to know why. But I definitely think that night when he's driving around, I think he's trying to work the nerve up, in my opinion, to go in. When is the trial supposed to start? In October, if he doesn't waive his right to a speedy hearing. Oh, GYP, short for gypsies. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. But that can be insensitive towards gypsies. The strangest thing to me is how BK drove past the house, turned around, came back, tried to turn in their driveway, but apparently couldn't, and went and did a 3-point turn and came back again. Okay, here we go about the JLR stuff. JLR straight up doxed him. It was wrong. I don't know how to feel about the Wells, but they deserve as much privacy as you or I do. So they have left their home in Tennessee. And, you had YouTubers this week on the set 2-year anniversary filming down in the driveway, the vigils, all the different things, which it's good that Summer gets coverage, but there is a line that gets crossed constantly in her case of exploitation. I mean, you have half of YouTube talks as if they just know for a fact she was being, SA'd on the regular basis and stuff like that. It's sick. But anyways, they have moved from their home and they're staying in a hotel out in Arkansas. They had said that on live streams. People knew, but no one knew exactly where they were. And he put out a video, which has been taken down, where he shows up.
A trip nearly 18 hours and almost.
He shows up at the hotel and shows the hotel they're in, the room they're in, the license plate number. And this is my thing. She opens a door. We're going to watch it for a second, but he's like, "Where's Summer?" And I'm like, this whole entire thing was set up to do just what you did. You just wanted to show where they were at and how they were looking for views and drama. But you got to tell me, you cannot tell me that you knocked on that door believing that she was going to tell you anything about where Summer was. I mean, what's the point of that? If you actually want to talk to him, you've got to give him some sort of respect, to feel safe to talk. But I don't see the point of this, because just watch. I'll show you.
Sure to get clear video of the name of the motel so that they're good and doxed. And then he makes his way towards the motel room, recording their car and making sure to get a close-up of their license plate multiple times as he circles the car recording. Then knocks on their door, making sure to give his supporters a good view of their room number.
And he did not blur any of this.
Solidifying a hard dox of Dawn and Candace Wells' new place of residence.
He even pans out to show the sign of the motel and everything. I'm sorry, but that is doxing, and I don't care how you feel about them. They have not been arrested. If it is okay for someone to do this to them, then will it be okay for someone to do this to you? Because what if someone goes missing in your family and all your true crime history on your phone makes you look guilty, or you don't have an answer or whatever, and people are suspicious of you, but you didn't do it. Let's just say they didn't. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Let me share the link of this channel who did this video. Exactly, Kimber. I've thought about that so many times. Like, after, there's a few cases that I can point out to you guys where we've been wrong, like the general public's perception, as in pointing to someone being guilty. But when Athena Strand went missing, I think her last name was Strand, a lot of people were very suspicious of the stepmom. You find out that Athena's basically her bedroom is in the building in the backyard. She wasn't being watched, all the different things. Come to find out, it was the UPS driver. So then I started thinking about Dawn and Candace, because it was a very similar type of situation. And the chance, as small as it might be, that they had nothing to do with it or no more, it's just, I don't know. Yes, he did, Tiff. All the way to Arkansas. Watch it.
In my opinion, this is not journalism. This is doxing and stalking and harassment. You're all entitled to your own opinions, and JLR is entitled to his.
Where's Summer?
I'll say this, though.
Candace,
it does
where's
seem a
Summer?
little counterproductive to do something like this when he's currently suing someone for alleged defamation.
What is the point of that? Hey, where's Summer? Just to get her on camera. This was the point of it. Just to get her on camera for a second. How does this help? Hey, Angie. I don't understand how this helps at all. On her 2-year mark, yeah. I'm going to play it just one more time because this is a good way to end this show today. This, and all this damn mess in Idaho, I'm telling y'all, things are going to change and we are not going to have the access that we have now to a lot of this information. And I won't be surprised if if people start getting in trouble.
And JLR is entitled to his.
Where's Summer?
I'll say this though.
Candace,
it does
where's
seem a little
Summer?
counterproductive to do something like this when he's currently suing someone for alleged defamation, with one of the claims being that this defendant called JLR a stalker.
I covered, if you watch one of my old videos on Tim Mullen, I think it was on Tim Mullen, because I did a deep dive into each individual person around Summer and background checks and all the things. And on the Tim Mullen one, I found stuff from JLR. JLR was trying to get an interview with him, and Tim kept saying, no, I'm not available. I'm sorry, I can't do it. JLR's like, well, I'm here in Tennessee, and I'd love to talk to you. He says, well, if I see you at this event on Sunday, maybe we'll chat, but I'm busy the rest of the time. Well, let's say Saturday, because I might have the days wrong, but Saturday, not the day that they were talking about, another day, he shows up at his house, which happens to be his actual mother's house, not his house, like an 80-year-old woman, okay? And he takes a picture of himself with the house in behind him and sends it to Tim. Hey, I'm here and I'm ready to talk. Buddy, you are stalking outside. You are outside of his mother's house. He don't want to talk. He's already told you no. That is not okay. That is far too close for comfort. You come on you come over here acting like that. I'm telling you right now, some people, especially in Tennessee, in the country like that, you go in on property that you don't belong on, your ass may not walk out of there. I'm telling you right now. And that's just the truth. But anyways, you guys, this will ruin true crime discussions for everyone. Yeah, it sucks. Hey, Jaded. I reckon I'm going to jump off here and go eat dinner. Most people do not understand the massive consequences to their actions or care. You're right, Dave. You are so right. Most people don't even care. They don't even think about how they affect other people. Most people, oh God. And especially on YouTube, I'm sorry, but I think YouTube attracts really good people, but also just really narcissistic, money-hungry, greedy people. And when you mix that with true crime, that becomes pretty gross, right? Because it's one thing to have somebody doing a drama channel and they're doing flashing their PayPal and asking for donations and different things like that. But when you start getting people into your chat rooms, but some of them based off the sympathy, maybe possibly of these victims, and then you use that to get money, I think it's gross. I do. Money is the root of all evil. That's just the truth. Truth. West Virginia lunch lady. She's telling the truth. It's 100%. I got relatives in Tennessee in those shoots rather than look at it. Dr. House, and put some rock salt in your ass. Yep. Southern Ohio is the same way. Some of them country folks stay wishing a motherfucker would. That is so true. Just sitting there wishing somebody would. I know, Music City Mom, me too. All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Love you too, Rich. Love you, Shay. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. Oh, Jeff, you got to check out the community tabs because a lot of us will share different documents or updates or videos that, we can't while we're live. So you can get a lot of updates there. All right. Guys, I appreciate you. Hope you have the best night ever. I'll definitely see you tomorrow because I think I've got a babysitter for the next 2 days. So I'll get to do lives. I've been struggling to find a time to go live. But anyways, all right. Have a good night and I'll see you soon. Thank you, mods. Thank you, chat. Bye.